Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And amid all the videos that you're going to see about Silver Surfer, and I'm definitely going to make more content on him, whether it's different fights in World Boss, it's Shadowland, it's ABX, it's different obelisks and CTPs and PvP. The one thing I think that is going to hold the majority of people back from pulling the trigger on ranking up and maxing out the Surfer is the cost. So I wanted to discuss the cost today. I wanted to tell you how much it cost me. I wanted to give you like a rough estimate and a pretty accurate estimate. And then I want to give you some comparisons to other characters that are pretty much either the same cost as Silver Surfer or cost more than Silver Surfer, and then remind you of some that cost less than Silver Surfer. It really just depends on where you are in the game. Of course, if you're having difficulty even getting Silver Surfer bios, this might not be a question for you, but he's pretty easy to obtain compared to some other characters once you have players that can help you, whether you make connections through Reddit or Discord or line chat. You could do this. You could technically get Silver Surfer if you find a good alliance or if you have some friends that already play before you even finish chapter 13.8 to unlock Odin. And Odin is one of the 5 characters that costs the same amount as Silver Surfer. So if you compare Odin's value to Silver Surfer's, Silver Surfer looks amazing compared to that old bag of bones, at least for now. But let's start off with the cost. So what are you looking at just for ranking him up? Well, just getting him to 6 stars, 6-star mastery, level 60, the very basic leveling that you would do for the character. This is before gears, before ISO 8 set, before Uru amplification, before all that stuff. You're already looking at 80 million gold, 8,800, so just under 9,000 black antimatter, and 2,700 chaos Nornstones. Additionally, and probably the most brutal component cost, now that we have level 70, and that's where a lot of your bios are going to get characters to level 70, especially future tier 3s, he costs 6,008 biometrics. So that's the equivalent of taking 2.5 characters up to level 70. 2.5 regular characters like Captain America, like Sharon Rogers, like Luna Snow. So it's pretty outrageous to think I could get Luna Snow and Sharon Rogers, 2 of the best PvE tier 3s. I could get them both to level 70, or I could get Silver Surfer to level 55. I couldn't even go all the way to 60, let alone going to 70 for Silver Surfer. It's going to cost even more, so it's quite outrageous, the cost, absolutely. But again, he has the exact same cost as Odin. He has the exact same cost as Dormammu. So these are 2 characters that are quite outdated at this point and quite bad. He also costs the same to get to level 60 as as Doctor Doom does, as Thanos does, and as Scarlet Witch does. So those are the 5 characters that I want to compare today. He doesn't compare. He's actually more expensive than Jean Grey, more expensive than Strife, and those other mutant tier 2 natives, because they cost feathers, and because of that, and just because of the way that they did the math, it's only about 55 to 60 million, whereas you're already looking at 80 million just to get him to level 60. But then you want to do everything else, of course. So my full cost in order to get his gears to 20, in order to get those Urus amplified, and I did end up spending a little bit more, so my number is a bit inflated for the Uru because I got the last one Cosmic Board to 5 amplifications. But my number is lower because I got really lucky with his gear upgrades. But in total, doing all of that, plus leveling up his skills to level 6, plus getting his ISO 8 set, and I do recommend Power of Angry Hulk for the attack speed, all of that cost me, are you ready, big drum roll here, almost just under 97 million gold. We're talking 96,800,000, 10,000 black antimatter, 2,700 chaos Nornstones, as I said, and 6,000 biometrics. That is absolutely disgusting. It was 11 million gold alone just to get his gears to levels, just to get his skills to level 6. And sure, I could have saved 2 million gold here, and I could have saved 2 million gold there, but it would still have cost me over 6.5 million gold just to get those 3 skills up to level 6. So an extremely expensive character, and the cost of Silver Surfer is compounded these days because of level 70. Level 70 is a cost that we don't necessarily take into consideration when expecting new native tier 2s, but especially if you unlock his potential early, having to spend those bios after you've already blown 6,000 is a lot. That would be the equivalent of upgrading like 4 or 5 characters simultaneously from level 6 to level 70. So you could compare Silver Surfer to about half of the characters in Infinity War. Were you able to get half of the characters, possibly more than half of the characters in Infinity War, all up to level 70 in the first week? Probably not. You probably didn't have 10,000 biometrics banked up, but that's honestly less. You're going to need more than 10,000 biometrics. Congratulations on the Odin's Blessing, by the way, Buddha 1979. I know you. But yeah, you're going to need more than 10,000 biometrics, so it's pretty insane. But now we come to the part that makes it sound a little bit less insane, which is where we compare Silver Surfer to those 5 characters. So we've already established that Silver Surfer is by far a much better, I mean, even at level 60, we're talking he's just like 10 times better than Odin and Dormammu. There's literally nothing they can do. He revives like Silver Surfer. He has the ability, the leadership that has debuff like Silver Surfer, but neither of them can hold a candle to Silver Surfer. They don't have the PvP value, and they don't have the PvE value. So now he goes up against 3 very strong native tier 2s. He goes up against Thanos, he goes up against Scarlet Witch, and he goes up against Doctor Doom. These are some of the best characters in the game. So now you have to try and think back. You want to imagine Thanos without his uniform, because we're not considering that cost, and also Scarlet Witch without her uniform. Out of these 3 characters, Silver Surfer might be the best. Yeah, if you're just considering them at level 60 tier 2, even level 70 tier 2, Silver Surfer might be the best. Doctor Doom might have a slightly better play in PvP. He might be a little bit better in PvP because he has a 50% heal and stuff like that. But Silver Surfer is by far the best character out of these 4 for PvE. He's got higher all defense down, he hits harder, he has ignore iframe, he's got healing, he's got reflect, he's got damage reduction, he's got crazy self buffs, 40% attack, 40% crit rate. He's got it all. Now, you're going to say Cynicalex. It's not really fair to compare Silver Surfer to these characters because they have uniforms. Okay, well, if you consider the cost of just the uniform, again, we're not going to tier 3 just yet, then you probably have a better argument for Scarlet Witch being better than Silver Surfer. But is she that much better than Silver Surfer? I would argue maybe, because on the one hand, Scarlet Witch is probably going to be a better striker than Silver Surfer, although we haven't yet seen how often he does his 5th skill. If he does his 5th skill very often, that's a lot of all defense down to stack. Minus 65 is very, very good. It's the second highest in the game for a single skill besides Weapon Hex. So that's very, very good. He doesn't have the mind control like Scarlet Witch has, but then on the other hand, Scarlet Witch doesn't have revive, she doesn't have his leadership, and she's not a universal, which is also a premium type because it's better against Galactus, and it's better future-proofed for future content. I mean, Thanos has been meta forever, partially because he's universal. He doesn't have a weakness type, especially with type enhancement, on top of the fact that Silver Surfer also has the cosmic passive or ability, which gives him a 12%, well, here it gives him 5%, but when you choose him as a striker, instead of giving you 8% energy damage, he gives you 12% damage to villains and 12% increased damage to heroes. That power, that passive that also was given to Thanos, is probably going to come in a lot handier when we finally get some hero world boss ultimates. We have 3 right now, Cable, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. And we may get ultimate levels for them soon. We may get ultimate levels for other characters in the future. I mean, Silver Surfer could get an ultimate stage for all we know, so it might become better than it is. And then Thanos tier 2, honestly, I don't think Thanos is that great tier 2, even with his uniform, not to mention the fact that Thanos' uniform costs more. It's 2,500 crystals. And then you compare Thanos to someone like Jean Grey. Who would you rather have at tier 2? Jean Grey with the uniform or Thanos with the uniform? Everyone on Earth is going to say Jean Grey. Exactly. So at this point, what I'm basically saying is Silver Surfer he might be the best native tier 2 that costs black antimatter. And if not, he's the second best at tier 2 behind Scarlet Witch, excuse me. And to be just a bit worse than Scarlet Witch is honestly not a bad place to be at all. And so while his cost is immense, it's hard for us to remember how much we spent on these characters way back because we've already invested the resources years ago. Scarlet Witch was introduced in 2017. It's literally been almost 2 years since these characters were released and since the player base has been able to build them up. Thanos was introduced even earlier than that. So it's pretty bananas. The best case scenario is remembering how expensive Doctor Doom was, and I think Silver Surfer is going to have a larger impact for the majority of players than Doctor Doom will, because Silver Surfer is easier to play. While he is very, very similar to Doctor Doom, they both have all defense down, they both have healing, they both have iframes, they both have immunity, they both have revive, and they both have this meta leadership. I think Silver Surfer gets it done a little bit better overall. His all defense stacks up to -65 instead of -45. He's also got Fracture. He's got a couple of effects that Doctor Doom doesn't have, but then Doctor Doom has, Ignore Dodge, and he has a larger 50% heal. But as a weakness, Doctor Doom has much longer cooldowns. He's got 15 seconds here and 25 seconds here. Whereas the longest cooldown for Silver Surfer is 17 seconds. So with an 8-second difference, or 4 seconds when you have maximum skill cooldown, when you're using that cooldown, Silver Surfer is much easier to play in PvE, and that was really the main criticism of Doctor Doom, is that he's not very good for PvE because his rotation's so awkward. Sometimes you're proccing on 5, sometimes you're proccing on 3, and you have to do this weird sort of shuffling of cards, of clamshells between his different stats. So despite his cost, I think that it's not a bad idea for those of you that are looking at these 4 characters to pick Silver Surfer first. Not to mention the fact that Doctor Doom requires you to pay 6,600 crystals up front to get Invisible Woman, and it requires you to finish the epic quest and get all of those characters tier 2, She-Hulk, She-Hulk and those other characters, Victorious, just to unlock him. So like I said, Silver Surfer might be the easiest of these 4 characters to unlock. I think Thanos is easier, to be honest with you, because you can just play the regular world boss. But Scarlet Witch requires you to unlock and rank up both Quicksilver and Cable. Now, is Silver Surfer going to give your account as much support and as much help? Is he going to be as valuable as 3 native tier 2s, Cable, Quicksilver, and Scarlet? No. On top of the fact that Quicksilver is probably the best pound-for-pound character in the game in terms of his value versus his cost, especially just because he only goes to tier 2, but he's still very, very strong. He can kill tier 3s in PvP still to this day. And then on top of the fact that you can use feathers to rank up Cable, so it gives you an outlet for those materials rather than them just wasting away capped out at 3,000 in your inventory. I really think it just comes down to Scarlet Witch or Quicksilver. Scarlet Witch or Silver Surfer. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think of the cost of Silver Surfer. It is absolutely ginormous, and I think Netmarble should do some sort of gold event just to let us recoup a couple million here or there in the wake of the Silver Surfer coming in and ruining us. But with that being said, do you think that my analysis is correct? Do you think Silver Surfer is as good, if not better, than Scarlet Witch? Is the uniform going to put her that much ahead of him? And when he gets a uniform, how much better is he going to become? It's an interesting question, and it's really a question that a lot of people are looking to answer. But even if you only leave your Surfer at 2 or 3 stars for Silver Surfer, he can still do damage. I've heard from a couple people that he can do Shadowland Stage 1 at only 3 stars or 2 stars. So just like Scarlet Witch, he's got value even if you are broke. Hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are. Thank you for watching. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.